toda la noche, no nos queda mucho tiempo más. No quiero perder lo que queda. Seguimos siempre la pasión y confiamos solo en el amor. Yeah. No quiero perder lo que queda. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad, hasta que me convierta en rayos. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad. Y más allá. Me convierta en rayos. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad. Y más allá. Seremos miles, crecemos en número, en solo un trueno de horizontes. Seremos miles, más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad, hasta que me convierta en rayos. Y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad. Y más
take me. I just follow your trail, and I'm losing your mind, and I'm losing your head. Let me escape from this unlove, 'cause I'm a prisoner. I just want to look my way and never back to you.
Things about to change, it's evolution. Voices don't know what we're doing. Things are about to change, it's evolution. Way to shake the ground, you feel it moving. We're the revolution.
Can you give me what I need? Just give me what I want, baby.
Good evening and welcome to Simplay Motorsport, here for round 9 and 10 of the pro season. We are here at the Circuit of the Americas, and the second night race of the year, and what a cracking night it provides to be. Weather, a bit on the changeable conditions side tonight, so let's keep our eyes out for what is going to happen over the course of the night. 13 runners, AH obviously dropped out of the league. Phil currently sat at work tonight, so he will miss this one. And I believe we're just waiting on Fury to get in this session. But I'm Matthew Duffin, as always, joined in the commentary box on a Thursday night with Kelly Davis. Kelly, how are you?
I'm very well, Matthew. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, buddy.
Good, good. Just looking at the grandstands. A lot of people in the grandstands, considering where we are in the world. Yeah, a lot of spectators here at the Circuit of the Americas this evening for this meeting this evening. And as you say, changeable conditions. Light rain at the moment, isn't there? So that's going to make it interesting.
It's going to be an interesting one to keep our eyes on. How wet's it going to get? Will it dry? What's going to happen as we go on throughout the night? Obviously, one of 2 rounds tonight. This round being round 9. This is the qualifying for that. 20 minutes qualifying for round 9, and then round 10 in just a short while. We're only half the grid, and with only 13 runners at the minute. If Fury does get on and is able to join 14, then at the moment, top 6 will qualify for race 2. Top 6 finishes from race 1 won't qualify for race 2. Top 7 if Fury gets in. Just going to quickly run you through the championship standings after obviously a few drop scores and a few double points taken here or there. Gary 131 leads the way on 125 points, 3 points ahead of the only G, with Big Boy Brazier 21 points behind in 3rd place. Andy, who's had a cracking bit of time at the moment, 28 points behind. Emo Guy as well, not far off the pace with him. Took his double points last weekend. Let's see what these Class of 97 Lamborghinis can do tonight. D Biggs then, running as an independent, obviously lost his teammate, is then in P6, 78 points. Peaceful Explosion 7th with 63. Little Each and Sooty Apex tied together on 58 at the moment, with Keegs just 4 points behind them on 54. AH dropped out obviously, but is on 50, sorry. Phil then on 46, not here tonight, with Welsh on 43, Deeks on 20, and Unorthodox and Fury dropping to 0 points after they announced that they would be changing their car and going into the Porsche. Clearly not a fan of the Ferrari. They've taken the liberty of changing car but lose all points they had from their previous races, so they are starting on nothing as we've lost Deeks. Hopefully we can get him back in the Constructors' Championship. Then Forever Forward Racing, the 2 Mercedes-Benz lead the way, 2 points clear of Leach Motorsport and the Class of 97 Lamborghinis of Andy and Emo Guy, who are only 2 points behind Forever Forward Racing, so then tied, really tight. Iron Brew Racing A team, the Keegs and Big Boy Brazier team, 27 points off the pace, with Shaker Bake Motorsport of the sole remaining D Biggs Porsche on 128. Run Flat Racing, the Lamborghini of Phil and Sooty Apex on 104 points, with DW Racing, the Lamborghinis of Welshie and Deeks on 63, and then obviously Fury and Orthodox FU Racing on 0 points. That's everything at caught up with 364 points still to play with. No one taking their double points tonight, and should be a fun night tonight, Kelly.
Absolutely, and this Circuit of Americas has got a bit of everything for everybody, and we'll get into the track very, very shortly. I just want to pick up, I mean, this is the FU Racing changing cars is probably the big news of the week, really, isn't it? You know, and they've opted out of the Ferrari to pick up this Porsche. Now, Dan certainly had some success in this Porsche, so we expect him to be a bit closer to the sharp end, hopefully, in this car. Now, I mean, they've done this, they've forfeited all those points as Dan goes quickest, but then, to be fair, he's the only man who's completed a lap. But they've I say they've chose to change cars and forfeited all their points because of this. But it's still a long season to go, isn't it, Matt? And to be carrying that car when you're not getting on with that car, to be carrying it for all the rest of the season and not enjoying it, I think it's a wise move from them, myself.
Yeah, I think it's a very wise move from them as well. I think when you're not enjoying a car and you can't get on with the car, you know, it can kind of dishearten you and dishearten the team. And you know, we've spoke with Dan, obviously Dan being your son as well. He's not been happy in that Ferrari. He's not been on the pace that he knows he's capable of running. Goes back to the old faithful in the Porsche, and hopefully we'll see him up there in terms of his times tonight. The only G, 31 world record holder now, I believe. So I've heard he's lost one.
Somebody's beat one, hasn't he? Yeah.
So let's see. Oh, as he gets a big twitch, a big snap there, coming out the hairpin corner. Guys, for those who didn't tune in last night, missed a heck of a second race too. Crowned a brand new winner here at Simplay Motorsport in Liam Gamer, taking his first ever, not just first ever win here at Simplay Motorsport, but his first ever sim race win anywhere. So a massive congrats to Liam Gamer then, as we've got Deeks in the session.
I look forward to that day when that happens to me, Matt.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not too far away, buddy.
Have you seen my driving? Have you seen me in touring car?
It's not too bad. It's not too bad.
But yeah, it's still on the good days. It's still about 9 or 10 places off the lead. But
you beat Gary Sunday night.
You know, Gary was having a bit of a shocker, wasn't he? To be fair, so
he was having a bit of a shocker. He's not having a shocker here though. At the minute, 3.5 seconds quicker.
As he just goes round. Look at that.
Where's that? That's at the Maggots Beckett's kind of section of the COTA circuit, isn't it? Where he's just lost it.
That's it. Yeah, and lost. That's the
and there he goes again.
There he goes again.
Well, we've jinxed him.
Yes, let's. I feel that we should probably leave Gary alone this evening, because we don't want to to jinx him too much. He's currently the fastest man on track. He's got again. He goes round again. Yeah, oh, that's beautiful. That was nice, Gary. That one actually, nice little pirouette. That one, yeah, beautiful. He's obviously, I don't know what he's doing. He's practicing for the Drift Championships.
Either that or just getting some extra temperature in his tyres, I'd imagine, maybe.
He could be, or just ruining them. You know,
we don't need this set, lads. These ones are going in the bin.
Yeah, absolutely. So Gary, as you say, he had a bit of a shocker in touring cars on Motive Sunday night, but he's been driving well, pretty much. Mind you, last time out, he had great pace, didn't he, in the Porsche, but kept just making little mistakes.
Silly mistakes.
And the one I really want to see make a bit of a result is this man here, Matt. I would really like to see Peaceful put it all together, because he's had pace over the last couple of meetings. Now, but hasn't been able to kind of put it together, has he? No,
he hasn't. He outqualified G at Algarve race 1 last week, and that's no mean feat. Let's not say G's an easy guy to outqualify. That is no mean feat. G is a very quick guy, especially over one lap. For Peaceful to outqualify him, fantastic achievement. And you're right, since Daytona, I think it was, we saw the pace that Peaceful's got, and last week at Algarve, we've not seen him put it together. And he's on a bit of a bad form at the moment. He won the very first race here at Simplay Motorsport last year, round 1 at Silverstone, in some horrific conditions that went from dry to terrible. He breezed past the Porsche of Little Leach down that back straight, the Wellington straight, should I say, not the back straight, the Wellington straight, like Little Leach was going backwards. And you sat here, and then you got a third in race 2, and I thought, wow, this guy's a guy that's going to win a lot of races, and that's his only win. Round 1 last season, very first official race here at Simplay Motorsport, is his only win to date. And for a guy who's got such pace, he's got to get them all that pace and put it together to be able to be on that good form. P3 at the minute, 3 seconds off the back of Gary 131. Little Leach currently P2 as well. So not too bad at the moment. As I say that, G's just gone into P3, so locking that second row of the grid at the moment off Forever Forward Racing.
Yes, as I said, I'm hoping that Peaceful puts it all together, because I keep saying good things about him every week, and it all seems to go wrong. So I'm hoping that he puts something together. I'm really kind of rooting for him. He's got pace for sure. Just needs to put it all together. we have a quick chat about the circuit here at Circuit of Americas?
Yes, I've actually got a few stats for you, Kelly. I've actually got a few bits and bobs. 20 corners.
Yeah.
Bear with me 2 seconds. Let me just load them up on my mobile. I've actually saved them to the phone, so I know I can sound as professional as you can with your facts tonight.
Shall I bang out a few facts and then see if we can... We'll compare facts. Well, it's a FIA Grade 1 track, like a lot of the Formula 1s are. And I've got Formula 1 news as well. I'll get back to that in a minute. So I've just seen. It's an FIA Grade 1 track, 120,000 capacity, designed by Herman Tilke. It's a Tilke track, so I believe the design, like just after the first corner, the S's is kind of based on Maggots and Beckett's. In theory, there's a lot of corners here and bits and pieces that have been taken from other tracks.
This is one of them tracks that sort of had bits taken from other F1 circuits and sort of mashed into one, if you like.
Absolutely, and the undulations have all been man-made. So when you go up to the first turn, that's all man-made to make the driving the track more more exciting. Lap record, the overall lap record is a 1:36.1. Charles Leclerc in the illegal Ferrari to 2019 version. What else you got?
I've got 20 turns, 11 turns to the left and 9 to the right, with a 42 to 52 feet wide width range on the circuit. So that's how wide the track is. It's an elevation change of 130 feet. So from the highest point to the lowest point, elevation change of 130 feet. A 3.4 mile circuit, or 5.5 kilometres for those who want to know how long the circuit is. The pole position is to the right of the driver's side, so I'm told, and it is a counterclockwise circuit, as we have 8.5 minutes left of qualifying at the moment. Go on then, Kelly, what's your F1 news?
F1 news, which I've just seen recently, is that Portimao is back on the calendar for next year, for this year, sorry.
Buzzing.
It's taken the May spot, the Algar track, if people don't know what I was talking about. The Algar track that we debuted at in Formula 1 in the 2020 season is back on the calendar for the 2nd of May provisionally. Also, engine freeze 2022 development. With the new aero, the engine freeze is going to be the engine's going to be freezed on development, and there's a strong possibility, and it's in talks, about a sprint race.
No, that's been given. That's been given.
It's been given. It's been confirmed now, is it?
About a couple of hours ago, I saw on BBC Sport that one has been given the go-ahead. All the details will be worked out, and we'll find out soon. But as far as I'm aware, it will be a sprint race for qualifying for the main race on the Sunday. Only at 3 tracks, though. Only at 3 of the events this season. Right,
there you go. Well, your news is obviously more up to date than mine. I think that's going to be brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I believe it's going to be championship order reverse grid for the sprint race.
I'm not 100% sure. Like I say, it said they were having to work out finer details. I think points are on offer as well, but only half the points. So I don't know if I'm a fan of it or not. We'll have to wait and see how it goes and what happens.
I think if it was a reverse grid, it would be interesting, because it would, we would really see who can overtake then, can't we?
I just think at the moment, especially this year with the not many rules and regs changes, if they're offering half points, it's more points for Hamilton and Bottas to just kind of thank you very much. We'll win title
but if they
a bit
started
earlier
at the back, but if they started at the back and had to earn those points by coming through the pack,
then fair enough. That
would make for a proper spectacle, wouldn't it? And
it would make for great viewing.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hope that's the case.
On board with Such Apex here, who's currently P3 at the moment. Peaceful and G and Little Each just dropped down the order a little bit. Took his first win of the season last week on the pad as well, not the wheel. Is he pad or wheel tonight? Let's see. It's going to be interesting.
He said he wasn't going to go back to the pad, didn't he?
He did say he wasn't going to go back to the pad. We'll have to see. Phil, his teammate in the chat, obviously either on a break or not that busy at work. Come on, Sutty, no messing about tonight. And I think the climb up to turn 1, being man-made, was stat of the day. So there you go, Kelly. Stat of the day with the hill being climb up to turn 1 being man-made. Stat of the day, or fact of the day, whichever.
Fact of the day.
Yep, so qualifying at the moment, 5 minutes, just under 6 minutes left. Gary still on pole with his 2:13 dead. Big Boy Brazier second. Sutty down to P4 now. Emo guys up into third. Currently a 10th up, but that 10th isn't going to hamper. Oh, he's not a 10th up now.
No, he's turned it round there.
Yeah, he's looking the wrong way.
Yes, indeed.
So is Emo guy
as well. He drops it as well.
There's a few cars tonight that are finding these conditions, Kelly, very, very, tricky at the moment.
Yes, indeed. It's this track's not giving up too much grip this evening. It is wet, as you can see. These are powerful rear-wheel drive cars, so very easy to turn them around. And looks like these guys are turning them around very easily.
Yeah, it does. Gary, the only man in the pits, everybody out on circuit at the moment. And I just want to pick your brain. Who are you tipping for pole position in this one at the moment? Always we see Little Each always trying to hang on to that. He's trying to keep it. Oh, a bit of a snap.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's kept it together. Oh, dear.
Yes, indeed. I was going to... we'll have an on-board round the lap in a minute.
Yeah.
Peaceful. I'm going for peaceful.
Put
it on pole. Yeah. Put it on pole. I've got Gary will be in the mix.
Yeah.
Probably Jamie and Sutty will all be in the mix. And the G will be in the mix. So, but
don't discount Emo guy as well. Had a good showing last week at Algarve. He's up there in qualifying as well at the moment. Andy a bit off the pace, but I know Andy's been under the weather recently, so we hope Andy gets better soon, unless he's feeling better already, and we hope that he can improve on his 11 seconds down at the moment, because he's really, I mean, you're looking at Little Each here, he's just actually gone past Andy.
Yeah.
Andy maybe just trying to tweak that setup a little bit. We'll have to wait and see. Keeg's been out qualified by his dad, Welshie, at the moment, down in P10 and 11. Dan down in P9, aka Unorthodox, down in P9 at the moment, 4 seconds off the pace of his brother. Dan 2/10 up there. Is that good enough? It's not really good enough for anything, is it? 2/10, need to find a bit more than that. D-Pig's down in 8th. Now, then Mercedes, Kelly, looked a bit poor last week when it was a bit wet.
Yeah, they did.
Didn't look great. Obviously, we're now not at Portimao, we're at COTA, we're in Texas. Conditions a bit different as well, different track. We're in the night time, cooler temperatures maybe. Are they going to struggle just as bad, do you reckon, in the wet? Or do you think that, it's a waiting game and see what happens?
Well, as I said, I tipped Peaceful for the race win on this one. So, he needs to put his finger out a bit. But, yeah, maybe, not thinking that one through too much. Yes, the Mercs could struggle again. They are. We've seen them struggle a lot in these changeable conditions. Even with Peaceful out with G.
I'm just going to bring you some breaking news. Fernando Alonso is in hospital after being involved in a road accident while cycling in Switzerland. Just literally has just came through on my phone from Sky Sports News. Fernando Alonso in hospital after being involved in a road accident while cycling. So we wish him all the best. And while he's got a bit of free time on his hands, check out Simply Motorsport, Fernando, and Motive Racing as well.
He normally tunes in, doesn't he?
Yeah, him and his pals.
He's always here. Yeah, him, Jensen, Lewis,
they're
Toto.
all on. This is what's took Lewis so long to sign his contract. He didn't know whether to come to Motive and Simply on the virtual world or race in real life for Mercedes. The offers was that close, and he just swung towards an 8th title, I think.
Well, absolutely, and you can understand that really. I again this week, Matt, I haven't had a phone call from Sky Sports yet, asking me to join the commentary team just yet, which I find very bizarre. I don't know why they haven't. Have you been contacted?
Not been contacted yet. To be fair, mate, I was honestly expecting me, you, Dan, and Andy to have a call up. You can be the new Ted Kravitz. Me and Andy the Crofty and Martin Brundle, and you can have Dan on the.
Oh no, I want the Martin Brundle job.
Oh, there you go. Me and you in the commentary box then. Well, I'm you and Andy, and Dan can be Ted Kravitz.
Yeah.
I'm expecting the phone call to be in Bahrain for the first race of the season. I'm happy to have my COVID tests and my jabs and whatnot to get out to Bahrain to be the commentator.
Absolutely, I've packed my cheese sandwiches. I'm ready to go. Not a problem. Do you know what I mean? Let's see if we can get on board with someone before the qualifying's over and get a lap of this race. Where's this? This is Sutty, and where is he on track? He's turn 1. Yeah, so turn 1 uphill, left-hander, unsighted as you hit the apex. This is the Maggots and Beckett's style. It's normally flat through the first couple, then you have to lift off and pick up the apex on the right, on the left. Look out for spinning Porsches. Now this one tightens up on the right hander, tightens right up, drops downhill slightly into the left. Pick up the apex, unsighted through here, a right and another left up over the hill. Very easy to go wide and out over onto the right hand side. Unsighted, as I said. Downhill now, pick up the apex, full flat through there, no problem. Heavy braking zone before you go onto the back straight. Massive wide track just here, loads of lines through here. Quite a lot of curb there, City Apex took up. You want the best traction out of that corner and onto this back straight. This is where the slipstream is going to cut in. Get in that slip as you're down this long back straight, which seems to go on forever and ever. Pick your braking point, because you've got a hard break in. Pick the apex up. No, don't matter about it, Sooty, don't matter about the apex. On your left hand side, you're into a twisty section again now. Right hander, back end will go light, tightens up into another right hander, back end goes light again. Throw it over to the right hand side, pull it back tight for the second apex on this left hander. Try not to run wide, get the power down. Now this corner is, I think this is supposed to be like Turkey, a 4 apex corner. 1, 2, you could probably lift off on the third, on the fourth, and then just nail the throttle again. Tricky downhill. This caught all the Formula 1 drivers out first time they came here. Second to last corner, can run out wide really easy. Last corner now, tuck it into the apex. You will a strong chance of running wide. Try and stay off the curb, get the throttle down and complete a lap. Where's City Apex going to end up? He's currently 4th. What does he do with that lap? He stays 4th.
He but did stay 4th, and you're right with that part of section. It's like Turkey, except right-hander, not left-hander. Most of the drivers then in the pits after completing their final runs on Orthodubs, Welshie and Gary. Well, there's only Gary and another one still on a lap. Sooty obviously has just finished his lap. Not sure if it's Welshie or Unorthodox coming over the line in a moment, but I'm sure we'll find out, as Gary has a bit of a twitch. Gary doesn't really need to put this lap in, does he? I suppose it's all testing though and all knowledge for him, as Unorthodox or Welshie will cross the line. I'll just keep my eyes on the timing screen. And it was Unorthodox who just crossed the line, moves himself up into P8 in his Porsche. Sooty is on the pad. He's a weak man, says Peaceful Explosion in the chat.
Sooty.
He's let us all down, but could he be a man then for the win? 1.8 off of Gary 131's time, as everybody's finished, bar the pro defending champion at the moment. And what sort of lap time is Gary going to do? He's really chucking it into these corners. He's going to come across the line now. Into the 12s. Just needs 45 thousandths of a second. What's he going to do?
No.
Ooh, you'll all have to find out.
I didn't quite catch.
No, I didn't see neither. No, he didn't. No improvement from Gary 131. So Gary, then, your man on pole for this third race, for this 9th round of the season, then, with Big Boy Brazier. It says Big Boy Brazier 2. That's due to PlayStation actually banning Big Boy Brazier's normal account that you'd see him on. Not sure why, but obviously he's managed to get a second account.
It would be Bad Boy Brazier then, wouldn't it?
Bad Boy Brazier, yeah. Gary took only at 1 pole last season. He's got 3 already this year. Good stuff from him. Big Boy Brazier in second with Emo Guy 3rd. Good qualifier for him. Sooty Apex just a little bit off the back of him in 4th, with Little Each 5th. The only G up in P6 with Peaceful down in 7th, and Orthodubs in 8th place. D-Bigs down in 9th with Keegs 10th, Welshie 11th, Deeks 12th, and Andy a bit off the pace in qualifying here, down in P13 then. Are you sticking with Peaceful for the race win?
No, Gary. Yeah, come on, Peaceful, let's have it.
I'd love to say Gary myself, but based off of Algarve last week when he kept spinning the car, I don't think I can.
Well, who are you going for then?
I fancy Big Boy Brazier.
Bad Boy Brazier.
Yeah, Bad Boy Brazier. Naughty man.
Yeah, bad boy. Oh dear. Let's not get to impressions. We had all that Tuesday night with the Clios. Which was we were doing Jim Bowen impressions and Bruce Forsyth. So hopefully we won't get into that tonight.
No,
so we're just waiting for. Go on, Matt.
We just wait for the drivers to ready up here, as Kelly was about to say as well. They're just final tweaks to set up fuel load, pit strategies, making sure everything is bob on for when they are wanting to ready up and get ready for the next part of this session. You'll see it come up with saying syncing on the screen. That'll mean that obviously everybody's ready up with syncing into the race. Halty in the chat says sometimes them, and around a clap emoji to go with it. Yeah, heck of a time. We didn't see these kind of times last night, although last night here at in Texas there was thunderstorms around and we had some stormy conditions. It doesn't look as bad as last night on the weather forecast. Still wet, but it's you know, changeable conditions throughout the night. But yeah, stormy conditions last night was catching quite a few drivers out, especially race one then, as we are all ready now and everything's syncing up to be lining up on the grid. You'll hear the noise for the lights. We're green here at COTA then for the first round of the night, round 9 of the season. I think Dan got a good start, but G got a bit twitchy in front of him, looking in the background. Jamie Brazier is off the line, and he's already ahead of Gary 131. Oh, an Emo Guy, a bit later on the brakes, he's tapped the back. Yeah, I think Emo Guy got a tapped it, Jamie on the rear there. He's managed to keep that together. He's actually down in P5, Little Each up to 4th, but Emo Guy leads this race. Such Apex a bit too cautious, maybe going through turn 1, and has lost out a couple of places, and Gary's already span at the Maggots and Beckett's, we're going to call it. He's got to be careful on the rejoin here, and I think he was. Everybody seems to have kept out of trouble yet. So Gary from first to last off the line after a couple of corners.
Yes, indeed. That was that went really badly for a couple of people. Bad Boy Brazier's back up into third place after all that first corner melee. Gary's the big loser there. Went sideways. He was right on the back of Emo Guy. Went sideways and dropped loads of positions.
Oh, that's Keegs. He's lost it now in his Lamborghini, and he's just clipped the rear of the wall, so not the start to his race. Really struggling in these conditions as his dad. No. Where is his dad? His dad must have had a problem as well, because his dad's actually just behind him, so he must have had a moment somewhere. Is that Gary who's had another moment? But he is on Orthodox then, in his Porsche. Look at the pace. He's finally knows what it feels like to go fast again, and he's really in that slipstream of the Mercedes-Benz. Whether or not he can keep with it, he's going to look down towards the hairpin. Is he going to think of sending one? Peaceful Explosion comes across to cover him. No, he doesn't. And he's that's D Biggs. That's D Biggs and Big Boy Brazier caught up in a bit of a collision there as well. And then D Biggs dragging a sign on,
Yeah, we've got him all over the track and all the rest of it. That would normally be a red flag.
Oh, there's Emo Guy! He's caught Peaceful! Oh, and Peaceful!
Peaceful as well.
He cannot buy good luck, can Peaceful. He cannot buy it. Emo Guy stayed in the middle of the circuit, made sure that he wasn't rolling in anybody's way, and Peaceful just collected him, being unsighted. And what a shame. But look who leads this race once again. He's backed out of the wheel for this one then on the pad, and he's leading this race here. Can it be back-to-back wins for Sutti Apex on the pad? Little Echo not too far behind him. What can he do in that Porsche? Sutti Apex very wide. Yeah, very wide there.
It's not going to do him too much. Not going to do him too much harm. That you can still pick it up from there. Little Leach keeping him honest at the moment, but that's lap 1. You know, that was the fun for lap 1, you know. So, just for example, you had Gary who went from first place to last place to 7th place in one lap. So, it's going to be all changed. Don't go anywhere. Don't go and make a cup of tea or anything like that, because it's all kicking off here at Simplay.
It is all kicking off. Jamie Brazier as well has a few excursions in that one, as did Keegs, and she had a problem at some stage, and we saw Emo Guy and Peaceful getting caught up in a bit of dramas. But for Dan here, looking quite good, up in P4 at the moment. You've not been able to say that a lot this season at all with Dan up in P4, but what can he do so far? Emo Guy and Peaceful's pit stops could be huge. Pit window is lap 4 around here. So them guys obviously must have real bad damage to that car, because you are allowed to pit earlier than the pit window if you have substantial damage that affects the handling or driving of the car, and they've been in the pits for some time here, as Emo Guy is away now. Heck of time he's been in the pits. I don't think he's actually crossed the line yet.
Peaceful's mechanics. The mechanics are doing are in the Daft Punk liveries this evening of strange teleportation type suits or whatever they've got on. They obviously gone back to Mercedes to get some parts for that one, because nobody's actually doing anything.
That just shows you how long Emo Guy. That shows you how long Emo Guy was in the pits. 3:34 was his lap. The leaders was nearly a minute quicker, so that's how long he spent in the pits. Just to reiterate what I was saying about you can pit before the pit window if you've got bad damage. Oh, is that the only G who's had a spin? Yeah, G having a moment then and spinning around. Not the start to his race that he'd have wanted there. But Jamie Brazier hassling the back of Gary 131. Don't forget these two qualified first and second. They're now running fifth and sixth. And Peaceful Explosion still in the pit lane. Holy moly. I think he's coming out now. Actually, he's crossed the line and done a 4 minute 18. That's how slow his lap's been. Yeah, he's out the pit. So long race to go for Peaceful Explosion.
Yes, indeed. And we got comments. Michael Matthews, is that one of our racers tonight?
That's Peaceful.
That is Peaceful. I thought it was 100 rear damage he had.
Yeah.
So that's almost a write-off. But
so for the guys that aren't quite aware of what the damage is, the front aero and rear aero is done in a percentage. So 100% rear damage means that pretty much that car's a bit knackered and you need to get it in the pits to repair.
Absolutely, yes, and that he did. You know, so yeah, that's him now down in last place. I apologise, Michael, because I was backing you this evening. Yeah, sorry about that. Hopefully he'll have a better feature race. But you know, there's still plenty to go. We can see anything happens here. Here as we're on board with Gary. I've gone on board with him. He's chasing down bad boy Jamie Brazier. And
look, all three of them wide there.
Yes, yeah, and
it's Gary and Jamie. Did Jamie just give Gary a bit of a look tap there? Gary's having to. Gary's had to slam on the anchors there. He tried to get going, but didn't have enough time, and just caught the back of the only G. I don't think G lost any time because he's still going, but. Gary just being tapped around there, that is not what he'd have wanted at all. And Big Boy Brazier, did he tap him, did he not? That's the question. He's now on the back of an Orthodubs, trying to take the fight to him on the back straight, heading down towards what is pretty much the second hairpin of this track. Jamie Brazier, though, doesn't seem to have that straight line speed that Dan does, as Dan was just slowly pulling away from him. Later on the brakes, though, maybe? Really sent one up the inside.
A lot braver on the brakes.
Yeah, a lot later. Gets one up the inside, and he got it stuck to the apex as well. So good move from Jamie Brazier. Dan maybe just braking a little too early there.
Yeah. Being cautious in these conditions doesn't take much to drop it. So maybe Dan being a little bit cautious on the brakes. Maybe the Lambo is better on the brakes in these conditions. We'll have to see how that goes on. But it looked like Jamie braked so much later than Daniel did. And was easy, made the apex. So Dan will be taking that on board, mind. He'll be thinking to himself, can I brake deeper there? We'll see how it progresses, because Jamie hasn't broken away from Dan in this half lap that he's been in front. No. So we'll see how these two how this fight continues as the evening goes on.
And another thing, Kelly, as well, is this is the battle for third place. D Biggs just in front of the pair of them, but in third place, kind of there in this battle as well at the moment, having a good little quiet race so far, not really having to defend yet from Big Boy Brazier or Dan, but we'll have to wait and see. Jamie Brazier looked like he got a bit of a wiggle on coming through that corner and struggled a bit there.
D Biggs looked like he had to come out of the throttle on turn one. Don't know if he felt like it was getting away from him, because he lost a bit of time on turn one. These other two caught him up a little bit. This is probably the best battle on track at the moment. These three guys. And as I said, we'll see how this progresses.
You know the Maggots and Beckett section, which we'll just class it as Maggots and Beckett for tonight. That Porsche looks mighty strong through there compared to that Lamborghini. Though look at the run Jamie Brazier's got on D Biggs at the moment. He's going to try around the outside. Have to take it onto the curb. Just a bit of a tap on the rear of D Biggs' car. Big Boy Brazier gets out of that one, but he got a heck of a run coming down off the S's as the cameraman tries to pick up an Orthodubs. We change camera now to the back of an Orthodubs who had a bit of a slide and lost a bit of momentum coming through that corner. The two leaders up the road have gone. They're 8 seconds up the road is little each, and 9 seconds, 10 seconds if you switch the apex up the road. As that's twice now I've dropped my notebook. The old trusty notes with the pit stops.
The Toy Story notebook.
The Toy Story notebook. It's out every Thursday and Wednesday night. Yeah. And that's twice I've dropped it. It's D Biggs had a bit of a slide. And Dan just tapping the rear of Big Boy Brazier there. G's going to swoop around the outside of both of them. Yeah. And Dan there.
Is Dan going to let Jamie through?
He normally does. He's a very kind-hearted driver. Jamie, does he feel like
Jamie's
he has
gone backwards?
Oh no, he is. Look, he's going to lose out to Gary. Is Dan? Dan's let Jamie through. So I mean, he's lost out to Gary in that as well to let Jamie Brazier through. That will pretty much null and void any penalty, if you ask me, because Dan has lost not just one place to Jamie. He's lost that second place to Gary 131, who's now back up into P5. So Just as Biggs looked like he started to slide wide, Dan just catches the back of Jamie Brazier there, and a good sportsmanship for letting him through, though.
Absolutely, and I just what we're watching is a few seconds ahead of the actual stream that all you guys at home are watching, and I just had a look over to my laptop to have another look at it, and I think Dan just maybe he revised his braking point, because we were talking about his braking before, and just looked like he outbraked himself and went into the back of Jamie, and Daniel's just not into doing things like that. Do you know what I mean? He likes to drive clean, he likes to drive fair, and as you can see, he just gave that place back. And I mean, let two other guys through. Dan could have quite easily hit the accelerator, pushed Jamie on, and gone. And been 2-3 places ahead, and still with D Biggs really, but he chose not to for the
saved himself the punishment after, hasn't he, as well? That's what he's done. He's kind of ruled out any potential penalty after that by not only losing the ground to Gary and G and D Biggs, but giving that place back to Jamie. Brilliantly done from Dan. Great play sportsmanship from him as D Biggs very wide there. G starting to hassle the back of this Porsche now as we come down towards the back straight. Gary not far behind this pair as well. And so far for the Mercedes, I know Bartek Peaceful's excursion with Emo Guy out of it, the Mercedes hasn't looked a bad car in the wet at the minute. No, not as bad as you would think. I mean, the Porsche seems to be a bit of a handful. G's going to look to make a move. Bit of a twitch under braking, and D Biggs turns to make the corner, but G was there. G got a bit slidey under braking there.
He did. I think D Biggs should
have. Lamborghini in the background. Keegs sliding off as if he's on an ice rink there. I don't know what tyres he's on. Oh, Jamie's had a bit of a wiggle as well. Or did G just send him round there? G looks like he's going to wait for Jamie and let Jamie back through. Again, good sportsmanship from the only G. Great sportsmanship. He's not only going to lose out to Big Boy Brazy, he's lost out to Dan and Keegs, and may lose out to Andy as he's going to try and rejoin the track as safe as possible. There he goes, look. And I think he's lost out. Yeah, has lost out to Andy. Gary then on the back of D Biggs now, after D Biggs getting caught up with the only G then. I would like to have seen that instant from another angle before assigning any blame or anything like that. But certainly G was out of control and was turning right when he needed to be turning left. Under braking and whatever. But I don't know. I don't know if D Biggs could have done a little bit more to avoid it. Could he have just stayed a bit wider? Did he perhaps see him coming? I don't know. Did he anticipate G slide and think that G may have not been on the apex by the time he turns in? It's all them kind of things that you play up and the admins will look at. One thing I've noticed though is that no, it is still raining. Sorry, apologies. I thought it stopped raining on the other camera view, but this one's still got raindrops on the screen, so we are still raining here then at COTA. I thought it had stopped for a moment, but it obviously hasn't. Jamie Brazy then, and a very up and down night. Been tapped round twice, tapped Gary round. He's been nudged out the way elsewhere, and he's not having the night he'd have wanted here. Two men we've not really spoke about in this race. Emo Guy and Peaceful, who pitted early and at the back, and four men, Sutty and Little Leach, who's out the front and kept out of trouble. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Sutty and Little Leach have been doing a solid job. The fortunes of Gary and G and Dan have all been up and down, up and down. This man Andy, look, he's just making. He qualified last, as I say that, and he goes, "There you go, Andy. That's called karma, my friend. That is commentator's curse. Yeah. On you, Andy. I'm afraid, my old cock sparrow." And Andy's give it to enough people over the times of commentating. He certainly has. Yes. He's now been on the receiving end of one. I was just about to say nice things about him as well, and say that he's just been quietly. He was last qualified, and he's just quietly having a tidy race as he was pulling up to the back of Keegs in 7th place at that point. And then he had a bit of an excursion off track. So, but as you say, still leading this race with a 5-second gap. Sooty apex. We know he's been a bit of a lightweight and a bit of a girl's blouse this evening, and back on that pad when he told us he wasn't going to. We'll give him our time about that later on. Yeah. Him being a bit of a as I say, a bit of a girl's blouse there really, instead on the wheel. But hey, he's out front. He's in the 216s, and
got 5 seconds above Little Leach. Little Leach being the little brother of Gary, seeming to keep the Porsche more in a straight line than his brother, and the last couple of weeks have been like that, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Gary seems to have had the pace, but Little Leach seems to have had the consistency and kept it all pointing in a straight line, which is, as they say, to win the race, first you've got to finish the race.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah, so Little Leach being consistent. His brother is now 10 seconds behind him, considering he was on pole half the race ago. He's now a couple of seconds clear of D Biggs. So he'll be able to push forward a little bit now. If he can keep it all together and keep it on the black stuff, Gary can push forward and see if he can catch his brother in the next 7 laps or so. Have we still got a mandatory pit stop on this one?
Mandatory pit stop, the mandatory pit stop was lap 4, so we're expecting guys in for a pit stop. The only 2 guys that I can see have pitted is Andy. Looks like he's having a terrible time as he's dropped down to last now, so I'm not sure what has happened to Andy then. But the only guys who's made a pit stop so far was Emo Guy and Peaceful, which I believe was for damages. We see the only G in the wall now, down in P11. How many times do you see G in the wall? And we said earlier that Mercedes looks good. It's starting to maybe show its true colours, as it looks like the rain. That's very twitchy and very slidey through there. That's not what you want to see if you're the only G. Very, very slippy and slidey then through that section of track.
I was going to say, I wonder if he's carrying some damage, but the car looks in okay shape. But now the only G and Peaceful right way back, and I mean these guys are out of contention really, and Andy all the way back as well. I don't know what happened to Andy. Did he pit? I haven't seen him pit. Have you?
I haven't seen him pit. The only 2 I've seen pit is Emo Guy and Peaceful on the first lap, at the end of the first lap. I've not seen anybody else pit, so whether Andy's got damage after he hit the wall, as we say that, now. Andy's just trickled in the pits. That car is crabbing. That car looks... I used to have a Morris Marina that looked like that, not good. Of course, the mechanics repair the headlights quickly because they're good at headlights. And they've done that, and Andy, as you can see in the pits, he's way off the pace now. A lot of these guys, all the way back to Emo Guy, is now a minute off the front, but G, Peaceful, and Andy are really in dire straits now. So they're kind of out. Deeks, it must have had a poor time as well.
Gary, what's happened to Gary?
I wasn't looking at Gary. Welsh's just gone in the pits. And look at the red dot next to his name, meaning that he's been speeding in the pit lane and has picked up a 10-second penalty. Yep, there you see, look, 10-second penalty on the pit box. So Welshie then. I was just about to say, Welsh's teammate Deeks has now just been passed by Emo Guy. So Emo Guy has done bits to get on the back of Deeks then and get past him. But at the moment, we are seeing Gary 131 struggling again on the circuit and has lost out to D Biggs and Unorthodox. Rain seems to have stopped. I can't see any on the camera anymore. I could be wrong. He's very slidey through the hairpin corner there. He's got Big Boy Brazier again trying to gain on the back of him. When are we going to see the leaders in? This is the interesting question for me. I just want to run through a bit of form. D Biggs back on the podium at the minute. He's been in fantastic form so far this season. Taken a few podiums, 2/3 and a second, but has been top 6 bar 1 race. So he's really been sort of top half of the field in all the races bar 1 at the moment, and has really shown, as we've lost a driver from the session. The only G is retired from the race, so will score no points. You've got to get to lap 10. He will score no points in this one then.
So, as Gary has a look upside, he had a look down the inside of Dan, but couldn't quite make it stick there. Dan went right round the outside of him, gave him room. But this is game on, these two here. So 3 Porsches. As Gary loses the back end again. 3 Porsches we got here in a row. D Biggs, Unorthodox and Gary 131 all in line. In fact, the top 4 of them are Porsches at the moment. So Porsche seems to be the car to have right at the moment, as we see Gary again with great pace, but just on the edge of that limit of fast and traction.
Now, a question for you then, Kelly. Is this more Gary's overdriving the car and making silly mistakes, or could he possibly, I know he could possibly be struggling with the track conditions, but at times we've seen Gary be like this. Has he overdriven the car to I thought we'd lost D Biggs, and I couldn't see where he was on track. But at times I feel that Gary overdrives the car. I don't know if you agree with me, but yeah, it just doesn't seem as if he's. You look at the two in front; they seem as planted and more consistent.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, Gary's a very good driver. We know that. He's a very good sim driver. He's very quick. But it seems to be his Achilles heel is the just.
Oh, there he goes again,
as
look.
He goes round. Yeah, as he goes round again, his Achilles heel just seems to be. Maybe just overdrives the car a little bit.
Oh, D Biggs has had an excursion as well. Sorry, Kelly. D Biggs is off as well. There, Gary's just passed him. So unorthodox and Big Boy Brazier. Unorthodox now on the podium with Big Boy Brazier now P6. So just as we was on about Gary, D Biggs has lost it as well.
Yes, indeed. And again, this Porsche is as an actual road car. The 911 is known for being a handful. Do you know what I mean? How that translates into a game. I haven't driven a GT3 Porsche, funnily enough. So I can't tell you exactly what it drives like on the road. But it seems to be pretty good round here in the damp. These guys are all still at the sharp end. But yeah, maybe I know. Yeah, Gary. I don't know how Gary feels about it himself. I don't know if he, thinks that. Yeah, maybe just sometimes you need to go slower to go quicker, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. And we said that last week, didn't we, with Gary? At times it felt like he was overdriving. Oh, it's Dan. Looks like he's just returned from making a mistake. So Big Boy Brazier looks like he's going to get back on the podium. And what was 4 Porsches in the top 5 is now only 1 Porsche on the podium. So that's quickly changed. That's how quick it can change. Each Porsche making a mistake this lap. Gary, again, in the background, not far behind. Can he get back on the back of Big Boy Brazier and Unorthodox? Now, the rain has definitely stopped here. Question, when do you pit? Lap 9 of 14. We said this last week at race 2. Gary's coming in now at the end of lap 9. We said this race 2 last week. Was it dry enough race 2 at Algarve for dries? Gary went on him and it clearly was. He set the fastest lap of the race. When is it going to be dry enough here as D-Biggs follows him in? When do we expect drivers to change to that to the slick tyre now, or do you think it's wet till the end?
It might well be wet to the end, and again, all things being equal, if we lived in a normal world, you wouldn't touch the slicks. It wouldn't dry up quick enough. But in the virtual world, the track dries extremely quickly. But we've got 4 laps to the end. As we see Dan going, very, very sideways. Hold on to it, Dan. Yeah, nearly just kind of kept it going in the right direction. He's got a huge gap now between him and Emo Guy. But, of course, people have pitted. Gary's pitted, D Biggs have pitted. He was in a race with all those guys. So that wasn't helpful.
Emo Guy's had some great pace. Sorry, Kelly. Emo Guy's had some great pace. He's up to P5, and let's not forget he's pitted here. So what a drive that Emo Guy has had at the moment, where he's up to P5 and is pitted ahead of Gary and D Biggs. More importantly.
Yes, indeed, and we'll see how that pans out. I don't know if Emo Guy's going to trouble the podium this evening, but it's certainly a brilliant recovery drive at the moment. So we look forward to seeing where he ends up. The track still looks very wet to me, and I don't think anyone's going to change tyres, because we know the mechanics here are great at headlights but nothing else, and a tyre change takes so long on this game.
Well, this was something else I was just about to ask you then. Gary and D Biggs have just done a 3-minute 4 and a 3-minute 5. They've both just passed Emo Guy, actually, as I say that. Do you think they've changed for the slicks, as Little Each now comes into the pits at the end of lap 10?
Well, have they just changed the slicks? We don't know. We haven't really got any way of finding that one out, I'm afraid.
No.
So
we'll have to keep an eye on their pace. Oh, Big Boy Brazier.
Keep an eye on the lap times.
Gary's going to send one on D Biggs. D Biggs this time is more aware of that and doesn't turn into Gary like he turned into G. But Big Boy Brazier has just gone into the pits, and he's been a bit of a bad boy Brazier again. I assume he's picked up a 10-second penalty. Yeah, there you see, look. So a 10-second penalty for Big Boy Brazier, speeding in the pit lane. That is going to really hurt him. Now, when does Sutty pit here? Because at the moment he had a comfortable lead over Little Each. Little Each now in the pits, leaving the pits just now. I think slick tyres are going on. I mean, Little Each a 2:51 pit stop. That's not as long as Gary's, but it's still, 30 seconds, 40 seconds off his pace. So it's still quite a long way off his pace, and just for a splash and dash, it isn't 30-40 seconds. I reckon these guys are changing tyre.
Well, let's see. Gary's now done this will be his first full lap after his
that's his out lap, isn't it?
And
then the 2:17s.
2:17. So, hard to tell at the moment, isn't it?
Well, we'll see this lap, won't we? Because that was his out lap from the pit. So this will be the lap to tell what Gary's on. It looks greasy more than wet. It looks really greasy, if you ask me. Not much standing water, but it looks very greasy. That Porsche all of a sudden has become a bit of a different car. As we see Emo Guy in the pits once more.
Emo Guy back in the pits, he's already done a pit stop, so he didn't have to do another one. But has he gone in and changed for tyres?
Possibly.
Yeah, possibly. I would say I'd be staying out and fighting with the conditions, but here's the thing, I'm not out there. So,
yeah, exactly. No, I completely get what you're saying. Gary's 8 seconds off the back of Big Boy Brazier, so needs to keep within that 10 seconds if he's to gain time on Big Boy Brazier, obviously, due to Jamie's pit stop error and time penalty. Now, Sutty, 40 seconds in the lead. If he was to change tyres, how long will the pit stop take, and how quick can Little Leach catch him while Sutty's not pitted yet and starts lap 12, so isn't going to pit this lap? If Little Leach is on the slick tyre, can Little Leach start to reel in Sutty Apex? Did a 2:17.1 last lap, did Sutty? Well, Gary's out lap was a 2:17.2. So are them wet tyres just now slowly starting to give up on Sutty Apex as the conditions are just now what looks to be changing? We're going to see Gary's lap in just a moment. He'll be the first one to tell, as Jamie Brazier's time will be an out lap as well. But I think when Sutty pits, I think he's got to change tyre. At the moment, he's not losing too much time, but I think over the next 2 or 3 laps, he might.
It's the deficit of time, isn't it? If Sutty Apex does a normal stop where he doesn't change tyres, he doesn't do damage, he's only going to be stationary for a few seconds.
Oh, we've had a retirement. Emo Guy's retired.
Oh, sorry, has he? Emo goes to time. Right, okay. We've lost Ian.
I think he got to lap 10, so he will score points for that, score 12th place points. Gary's flashed his lights here, not sure why. Crosses the line.
Yeah, I don't know why.
In the 209s. So he's on the slick tyre.
I would say so. I don't know if he's listening to us in commentary. If you are, Gary, and you are on slicks, give us another flash of your lights, just to let us know. He might not be listening to us, to be fair, because a lot of these guys just listen in the game chat, really, and don't listen to us. And I know for some people it puts them off, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In listening to the stream. So maybe that's the case. But Gary, fastest man on track by a long margin at the moment. Jamie isn't setting the world on fire in the 2:18.
I think Jamie's was an out lap as well, if I'm going to be honest with you. Because he pitted at the end of lap. He's flashed us there, so is he listening?
Yeah, he got flashed, so maybe he is listening to us.
Jamie pitted at the end of lap 10, so this will be Jamie's first proper flyer. We'll have to see what he's doing. And Orthodub's gaining on the back of D Biggs here, as we're on lap 12 or 14, and Sutty, just pitting now. Last man to pit now. What do you do? 30 odd seconds he had to Little Leach. Little Leach will be coming at him and coming at him fast as well. Is it a change of tyres?
Yeah.
It can't be now with 2 laps to go.
Good. Well, they're not doing anything particularly, but that's the mechanics anyway. We can't really tell
that's
from what
the game's
they do.
Flaw here, isn't it?
He sat there a long time, a very long time.
He is. I think he's changing tyres. He's gone now.
Could be.
So the question is where is Little Leach coming through the final corner then? So Little Leach going to be up to speed before Sutty is. Keep your eyes on Sutty Apex, still not yet out the pit lane. I think Little Leach may have jumped Sutty here. Sutty's just been released now. You hear his engine starting to go. I think Little Leach has just done enough to get it. No, he hasn't.
No, not quite.
They just touch each other.
Touch each other.
Yeah, just coming into turn 1, they just have a bit of a tap. Sutty, though, on the slicks, got to get him up to temp. Little Leach's will be at optimum temperature, you'd imagine. As you see, Sutty, a bit of a dab on the brakes here.
Through there, though.
Yeah, this isn't the section, is it?
No, he's got half a lap, 3/4 of a lap total, really, before Sutty gets on that. And was that Sutty going wide or Little Leach? Sutty going a little bit wide.
Yeah, Sutty missing the corner. that Bozzy boy in the chat. Come on, Sutty. That Bozzy boy, aka Liam Gamer, took his first ever win in sim racing last night. Not just on the channel, but in sim racing altogether. So massive congrats to him. Nice to see you in the chat, buddy. And Little Each here then, putting the pressure onto Sutty Apex. In fact, going to Sutty send one on the master. Oh, and gets it parked on the Apex. And a bit of a Plato nudge there up the rear from Sutty Apex. And that's a bit naughty from Sutty. Little Each perfectly parked on the Apex. And Sutty just gives him a little love tap to remind him of that he's still there. But now Little Each leads into this final, going on to the final lap.
Right, Little Each needs to break that gap now to Sutty Apex. To get away from him. Great Plato reference, although I did see on your Facebook page today with Jason Plato, with your buddy.
Someone didn't know who he was. One of that Bozzy boy actually didn't know who he was, so I tagged him in the photo and says, "This is Jason Plato." I don't actually know if he still is, and there's this whole rumour going around that I'm a Plato fan. I'm not hugely. I respect all professional race drivers, whatever, but. I don't know if the stat still stands, but Jason Plato is actually the most successful British driver of all time on race wins. Yeah, race wins. So oh no, Sutty's lost it. Sutty's had a big spin there. I don't know how far round he is, but that has pretty much gave Little Each the race win. Question though, oh no, Big Boy Brazy with his 10-second penalty is going to be he's not going to be able to catch and pull away that much time in one lap. Gary's only 6 seconds behind Big Boy Brazier, so this Porsche has all of a sudden came alive since the conditions have gone a bit dry. D-Big still hunting, Unorthodox hunting down D-Bigs. Keeg's back in the pits for another pit stop. Andy currently 8 minutes down on the time. He's had a horrible first race. I mean, D-Big's very wide. Oh, and Dan had a bit of a slide there coming out the penultimate corner. Yeah.
He had to get out of that one.
Is it just spitting? Or is it me?
I think it's you. I can see the stars. Oh, I don't know. There is a couple of drops of rain.
A few drops, isn't there?
Yeah, I think there is. Let's.
Yeah, you can hear it bouncing off the roof of an Unorthodox car. It is started to rain again. Oh, another twitch for D-Biggs. And now can Dan capitalise on this one as he's going to look around the outside. He's going to struggle to get it done on this section. He'd be better off setting D-Biggs up for the part after this bit. As we head into what is pretty much Maggots and Beckett's last lap. Yeah, but plenty of laps still to go. Oh, Dan just touches the curb and it just unsettles the car there. And he's got to... Oh, I've dropped my pad now. He's got to really be on it. I'm dropping everything tonight. He's really got to be on it. But this man here, what a job he did. Sent one on Sutty. Sutty then lost it coming through the penultimate corner, and this man has just driven a quiet race, but he's got the job done in the end. He's not had the pace of his brother, was 3 seconds slower on the last lap, but that's not going to matter when you take the race win.
No, not at all. You summed it up perfectly. Really, he had a quiet. He's been in the mix from lap one, really, and just kept his head, kept it smooth, put the times in when he needed to. He's now got 7.5 seconds on Sutty, so this one looks like it's pretty much in the bag as he comes through the last couple of corners here. Big Boy Brazier still pressuring Sutty. Although he's got a 10-second penalty, so it's really immaterial. He's going to end up dropping back behind Gary, probably. Little Leach coming round the last corner now, just keeping it all together. There you go, there's your race winner.
Yeah, Little Leach, fantastic drive from him. He got the job done when he needed to. Takes his first win of the season, his first podium of the season as well. Gary has actually just got past Big Boy Brazy, so I'm not sure what happened there, but Sutty Apex is going to take a second place on the pad, albeit. Gary's going to come home to take a P3, in which Gary and Big Boy Brazier have had such an up and down race in this one. It's been hard to keep track of where they've been at times. Big Boy Brazier will come home fourth. I can't see him losing out to D-Biggs, as Unorthodox hasn't been able to get past him. Then to D-Biggs, looks like he's going to take a P5 here. Unorthodox a P6.
He'll be happier with that.
Yeah, and he's had a P5 and a P6 in the Ferrari, but I think he'll feel that he'll be more comfortable in that because of that P6 is more earned through pace and battling people than kind of being gifted that others have made mistakes. Welshie, not a bad finish for Welshie then. His highest finish, joint highest finish of the season with a 7th place, so a good result for him. Dropped the Acura for the Lamborghini after round 1, and he's at P7.
10-second penalty, but that'll make no odds because he's like a half a minute ahead of Peaceful, who's again had a bit of a shocker. I'll stop stop backing Peaceful. Every time I do, he ends up in trouble. But he's a long way back off the rest of these guys. So he's just coming round to finish off the race in 8th place. We'll just watch him have his moment around the last corner and complete the lap. So there you go, Peaceful, flash the lights.
Yeah, acknowledging
8th place.
The stream. 8th place could have been so much worse, but he's managed to hang on in there till the end and get an 8th place for him. Yeah. Deeks, not really seeing much of Deeks tonight, bit of a quiet one. Down in P9 then so far. Keegs isn't going to catch him being a lap down on Deeks. Bit of a quiet race for him. Keegs comfortably then 10th. I don't know if he's crossed the line or not. And Andy comfortably in P11 so far. Fury not here for this one, will be in for race 2, so he needs to score some points, and if he's got the pace of his teammate, that'll be what he wants as well, because Dan and Fury could be looking good in this one. As there's your result then, fastest lap of the race. Gary 131 in the 207s at the end of that one, just double checking everybody else. Yep, Gary 131 then with the fastest lap of the race, and what a job he's done. So takes a 3rd and a fastest lap. We're going to be right back after a quick break with the second race, round 10 of the evening here at Circuit of the Americas. 18 people watching, 14 likes. Guys, hit that thumbs up button, get as many likes as we can on the stream. We're going to be right back after a short break. So go for a toilet break, get a drink, and tune in just a short while for the second race of the evening.
You're the night sky trying to make me see your stars, but the dark gets so lonely. Now I see violet, I can feel silence, and the dark's all that I see. When your stars are burnt out and your heart makes no sound, I'll find violet in your eyes. You'll always be my night sky. I just realized I've built walls a mile high to protect my heart, but now I'm all alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been so scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I am strong. Just watch me tear them down. I'm gonna tear them down. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? Just watch me march towards the battle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. Watch me march. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? I criticized myself for trusting lies. I No, I can't hide, 'cause then I'd be alone, stuck on the inside. The heart doesn't need a castle, it needs a bridge. Been so scared that I'd unravel. Brick by brick, I built these walls. Now I know that I'm enough. Just watch me tear them down. I'm gonna tear them down. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? Just watch me march towards the battle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. I'm gonna tear down this castle. Watch me march. If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love? If it couldn't break your heart, is it really love? If it can't tear you apart, is it really love?
Play a slow song. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Play a slow song. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna 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 turn it up I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Give it to me like I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Give it to me like I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna 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 turn it up I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Give it to me like I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down. Give it to me like, 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 give it to me like.
Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen, to Simplay Motorsport for round 10's qualifying here. Just to let you know that the top 6 cannot qualify. So Gary 131, Little Leach, Sutty Apex, Unorthodox, Big Boy Brazier and D-Biggs cannot qualify. Anybody else are fine to qualify. We've lost the G but gained Fury in this race. So let's see what these guys can do from here on in for the rest of the night. I'm joined in the commentary box not only by Kelly Davis once again for race 2, but by the top 3, the podium finishers of the first race. I'm going to start with Gary first. Gary, that race was up, down, up, down. I've never seen so many mistakes or taps, problems, and to still come on the podium. What an achievement.
Yeah, it was just keep it patient. I weren't really looking forward to this round, as you know. I haven't done a lot of practice. It's just a case of trying to keep it on the track and gain some positions. Yeah,
it looked very tricky out there for you early doors. You had a few moments where you just couldn't keep the car, qualifying especially as well as the race. Just the car seemed very loose and very slidey at moments on the track.
At certain places, you gain a load of confidence half the lap, and then all of a sudden you'll hit a piece of track that's just got no grip, and you just lose all the balance in the car again.
What's your thoughts going into race 2? It looks all dry from here on in for the rest of the night. Should that make things a bit easier now that the weather's sort of drying up a bit?
Hopefully. Like I said, I haven't got a lot of confidence around this track, so we'll just try keep it in the right direction and pick off as we go along. Well,
best luck, mate, going into race 2.
Cheers, mate.
John Sutty Apex as well, second place. Nearly had it at the end until a bit of a Jason Plato manoeuvre into the hairpin corner, tapping Little Leach up the rear end. Sutty led the lead for every single lap but the last.
Yeah, we went down. It's a bit like when we go on Formula 1. My tyre strategies aren't normally my strong point. I thought about staying on the wet tyre, but my front left on the second to last lap was really getting warm, and I knew obviously Craig had gone up the slicks. Yeah, so I've got a pit. I knew it would be close. Just managed to pip him, bit of rubbing in the first hairpin, but then just my setup, it was just a raw wet setup. I just really struggled. I had nothing to answer Craig, he drove brilliantly.
Is that indication then that you might struggle going into the second race if the setup's just raw for the wet? Is that an indication that you may struggle?
Yeah, I think I am going to struggle. I have been struggling around here anyway. I was quite happy when it was wet, to be fair, because I think it was quite a slidey car, but yeah, with the soft tyre, I can only really get a stable car, but it's more geared towards the wheel, to be fair.
Now, the interesting question the viewers will want to know is, are you on the wheel or on the pad?
I'm on the pad this evening.
2 podiums on the pad, none on the wheel. It's terrible, that. It's absolutely terrible. No, great first race, though, for yourself. You had such good pace, managed to hold off Craig early doors, and then you seemed to gap him. And just quiet for you, just putting in the lap times and sort of keeping that gap to Craig.
Yeah, it was good. It was just a nice, consistent lap. I think they were all 2:16s. I had 2:15. It was all nice. And then as the track started drying, the car sort of fell away from me a little bit. That's why I'm trying to stay on the wets. Like I say, Craig, amazing job.
Thanks,
brilliant.
Mate.
Kept me honest the first couple of laps, and then it's my own fault towards the end, really.
Any words for your boy who keeps popping in and out of the stream? Any words for him watching?
Don't work too hard, Phil.
Well, best luck for race 2, mate.
Alright, cheers, pal.
I'm joined by Little Leach in the chat as well. Takes not only his first podium of the season, but he's done it in style and took his first win of the season. Cracking job, mate. P2 all the way, sort of looked comfortable, and then last lap sent one up the inside on the master of the send it manoeuvre apparently, and won the race.
Yeah, I just got my head down from the get-go. I saw Emo hit Big Boy Brazier up the rear a little bit first corner. Managed me and got away. I just tried to keep moving as much as possible.
Obviously, your brother, teammate, colleague, whatever you want to call him, struggled a lot with the sliding of the car. Did you find it very similar in the Porsche, or?
Not too bad. I reckon he drives it a bit harder than me, though. I just go slow and steady.
We said in commentary
slow and steady wins the race.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we said in commentary that you kind of put in the slower, consistent laps, and Gary seems to be all or nothing at times.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, Matt.
No,
is there what's the brotherly love like? Are you going to rub that one in now? Are you? Is that you going to wind him up, or do you boys not work like that?
I might do for a week or so, but
I tell you, I tell you, if it was me, I'd be ribbing Dan for like the next 5 or 10 years, you know. So yeah, I would take the greatest pleasure to put one over on Dan. So, but good race, good, really solid performance. Yeah, what are you thinking? Your prospects for the feature race?
Race 2 in the dry. I am about 3 seconds off the pace, so I'm literally just going to try and keep it consistent and get my head down again.
Stay out of trouble and yeah, just try and run your own race. Absolutely, good strategy.
Well done, Chris. We'll let you get back to your last couple of minute tweaks, and yep, congratulations to both of you. Well done, Craig, on your first win of the season. Sutty, get on the wheel.
That's not what you were messaging me earlier.
No more Plato moves, please, into race 2. But no, seriously, but guys, have a great second race. We'll let you get back to it.
Cheers. It's all about Matt Neal in this race.
Yeah, so that means Sutty will be storming out in front of him, not looking back from there then. Evening to Fury's granddad. Evening all, go F you racing, he says in the chat. Evening to Fury's granddad. Nice to see you here as always. As we see, Kelly, your man for race 1, currently on provisional pole at the moment.
Yes, indeed, and we're dry now, so yeah, let's see what Peaceful can do from there, and let's see if he can have a better race. I'm just not going to talk about him too much. Do you know what I mean? Because yeah, the commentators thing, commentators curse thing might be ruining his races, but hopefully he'll have a look. See, as soon as I start talking about it, he gets all out of shape. You know, so.
It is a thing. It is a thing for those viewers who think that the commentators curse. Oh, it's just you talking nonsense. It is a genuine thing. We talk about one guy in a positive way, and it can be from the smallest of twitches to the biggest of crashes. It's a genuine thing.
So I'm thinking then, Matt, if that's a genuine thing, and we believe it's a genuine thing, then. If I'm racing over on Motive on Sunday night on touring cars, if I commentate at the same time, maybe I can just commentate my way into a lead. What do you think?
If you say nothing but pleasant words, Kelly, I have no doubt that you'll end up leading the race and winning it.
Well, there you go. I mean, I'm always one for pleasant words. I'm never one to criticise anybody. My missus looking at me as to say, "What are you talking about?" So I've never got anything but nice words. As we see Ian lose it in the Maggots and Beckett section, and goes back to the pit. So
he won't get another lap in now, neither will Emo guy. So that's his chance of pole gone.
Absolutely. So Peaceful is at the moment is your quickest man. Emo guy, as you said, quite rightly said, is not going to get another lap in. So at the moment, Andy's the only other one close to Peaceful, but he's 1.8 off the pace at the moment. These guys, it's quite spaced out actually. We haven't got, the quick times as Ian comes out again. He ain't going to get round and get a
Could he
lap
just be
in this
testing?
time.
Could he just be testing something? Bit of final tweaks maybe to the setup. Something didn't feel right. Let me just go back. Very good evening to Fury's mum in the chat as well, both cheering on Fury, who's with us for this second race. Currently P6, 11 seconds. Always Andy.
Ooh,
big hit Andy. Into the wall. That's going to hurt him. He's not going to get another from there.
Yeah, no, not at all. We see the, as you said, the Fury Massive are on the on the chat this evening. Anybody else watching, please feel free to make some comments on the chat, even if it's just to say hello. We love to see your comments. It gives us something else to talk rubbish about. And just quickly before the end of this session and talking rubbish, my stat on Jason Plato that I gave you earlier is actually incorrect now.
All right.
I believe it was correct about 2 years ago, but now, of course, who do you think's the most successful driver on race wins?
Matt Neal?
British driver
Matt
on
Neal.
Race wins. No, mate, no, it's not.
No, it's Lewis Hamilton, isn't it?
It is actually Lewis Hamilton nowadays. He's had 95 wins in Formula One.
Oh, as well, he's had a horrible slide coming up to the penultimate corner.
Horrible little
and
spin.
that's just ruined his next chance of a run as well, so that's him done.
Yeah, he's done indeed, yes. So Keegs is he on track? Yeah, he is. There he is. So he's still got a chance at it.
So go on then. Hamilton's 95. What's Plato on?
Plato's actually 97 to total career wins. But of course, I've just said Lewis Hamilton's 95 wins in Formula One. Of course, he was GP2 or F2 or whatever it was at that time. He was champion of that and other series. So his total race wins, although I don't have a precise figure, will be much more than Jason Plato's total 97 wins. But a couple of years ago, that stat was correct. When, as I say before, Lewis has put quite so many more wins on top of that. So Lewis Hamilton, the most successful driver on race wins, but Jason Plato would be second in that table, which is quite an interesting stat considering Jason Plato's only really done British touring car. So.
Literally, just not bad for a touring car driver, is it? Really, at the end of the day, it's the most wins for a touring car driver, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And we know, I mean, touring cars is a very different beast. Being that they have 3 meetings in a day, but on the other hand, there's only about whatever it is, 8 or 9 meetings, weekends or whatever.
That's it for qualifying. Sorry, Kelly. That is it for qualifying. Peaceful Explosion takes pole position in this one, and that is his first pole position of the season. Can he finally get that final step onto the podium that he's been so long after for a second race win here at Simplay that again he's been seeking after for so long? Emo guys kept hold of second place. Keegs managed to up himself to P4. Andy dropped P3. Andy dropping down to 4th. Welsh and Deeks 5th and 6th, with Fury down in 7th place, a bit off the pace, but obviously a lot of work to do. Obviously just coming in, and then the randomised grid. Obviously, for the guys that don't qualify, it's completely random. Gary will start 8th, D-Biggs 9th, Little Each 10th, Big Boy Brazier 11th, Unorthodox 12th, Sooty Apex 13th, and last. Kieran says Gary is the new sandbagger in practice. 100% that is true, Kieran. What can Peaceful do? Obviously, back to your comment of the touring cars run for so many races over the weekend, and 10 races, there's 30 races he can win compared to Hamilton's 20 or something. But let's not take away from the fact that the years Plato did at his best. He had the likes of Menu and Muller, Giovanardi, Matt Neal in there, Shedden, Turkington, all these guys that are equally as quick, just as good, if not better, one of them, that, Turkington, obviously. They challenge him for these wins, and he's done it a hard way. And I've obviously clearly missed some great drivers like Rickard Rydell and other people off that list. But he's what wouldn't take nothing away from Hamilton and his achievements. But these last couple of years, his race wins have been a bit easier to come by than what Plato's ever had in his career. We've said it before. British touring car is one of the best seasons in the world. It's one of the best championships in the world. It is such hard racing, so incredibly high level of racing, and so incredibly competitive. And as I say, I rate it as one of the best championships in the world. And again, I would love to see not just Lewis Hamilton, but other Formula One drivers, Jenson Button, Seb Vettel, people like that. I'd love to see them in the touring car and see how they fare against these guys. These semi-professional guys who are so incredibly good. And I think it would be Ivan Muller. Neil Jay's put on Ivan Muller was epic. John Cleland. We could reel name after name after name. And the likes of. As we're going to sync up now, we're going to get some racing on track. So we'll stop chatting rubbish and start looking at what's happening here as the revs rise. Yeah, the lights are on. We're green here for round 10 of the season, just short of the halfway mark in this season, but we are away. And look at the start Emo Guy has got. Left Peaceful Explosion on the line. Great start as they head up to turn 1. That's Welch having a bit of a look. Oh, he gets a bit of a nudge there and a bit of a tap as they run wide. So did Keegs here. Yeah. Oh, that's Keegs round. D-Biggs round. I think it was Fury. I think Fury's down in 13th, so a couple of them spinning round there. Emo Guy's now got away with Peaceful Explosion in all of that. Welsh is up to 3rd. Gary's got away cleanly up into 4th with Deeks 5th. Little Each up in 6th place, then Big Boy Brazier down in 7th, and Orthodubs in 8th. Did he get involved in that melee? Hard to say because he was around that 8th place on the grid. Andy, D, Biggs, Keegs, Sooty, Fury all down the pack, so Sooty definitely got caught up in that one.
Yes, indeed, and Little Leach having a flyer look on the back of his race.
Oh, that was someone round, I think,
earlier.
in the background. Yeah, Andy's had a bit of a spin, I think. Oh, we've lost someone.
And that is Andy.
Oh, we've lost Andy, yeah. So Andy will score no points in this second race. Shame as well, because he's been a bit off tonight. Hopefully if he's still under the weather, let's hope he gets better in time for next week as well. Shame for Andy that and the team of Class of 97, because with Forever Forward Racing not having the best night, they could have really pulled some constructors points back. Emo Guy now having to do the work with Little Leach looking to make a move on Deeks into the hairpin. Deeks keeps it nice and wide as Jamie Brazier just behind him.
That was.
Yeah, nicely done from there from Little Leach.
It was. He just kind of tucked it to the apex, drove right round the apex corner, and managed to go right round Welshie. Was it Welshie he went round? One of the two.
Deeks.
Yeah. Just drove round the inside of him, really. That Porsche seems to be planted. As we see, again, good start for Gary. We're hoping he's going to keep this one all together through this, because he started, a lot further back.
Yeah.
So the two Leach brothers having a cracking good start to this race. Peaceful hasn't let Ian go yet. He's still within half a second of Emo Guy as they come down the back straight.
Yeah,
no, I
Peaceful,
tell a lie. They're coming into
down
turn
the main
one.
straight. Yeah, coming down towards turn one. Peaceful looks
Turn
very
one.
good at the moment. Sooty clearly must have had damage to that car, because he is in the pits then, as is Keegs early doors in this race. So 2 pit stops early doors, maybe for damage for them two. Hopefully they can get back out on track. We saw that Emo Guy and Peaceful actually made a few places up, even though they had damage to their cars last time round. Isn't it funny that one of the guys who was on the last race pitted lap 1 last race and now leading the race in this one?
Yes, indeed, and that's how quickly it all changes, isn't it?
Indeed it is. Unorthodox and Big Boy Brazier have got past Deek, so they're up into 6th and 7th place respectively at the moment, and Unorthodox heading after Little Leach at this moment in time then. Fury down in 10th place, some way off the back of D-Biggs and Deeks. Here's D-Biggs just in the background, you see there. Deeks as well behind Big Keegs still in the pits, so we'll have to see what happens. But the battle at the front, 0.6 of a second. Gary just 0.8 behind Peaceful Explosion. These three just starting to become more of a trio now in terms of a battle, just slowly getting closer together, but pulling away from Welshie at the same time.
Sorry, mate. Ian went in very deep there. Peaceful's right on top of him now. In front of him, in fact, or just slightly, as Ian has the inside line for the next couple of corners. But Gary's in there as well now. They're certainly turning into a scrap instead of a...
Peaceful!
Peaceful, come on!
That's that lack of consistency that we talk about. Just one little mistake from Peaceful. He had a look up the inside, had a sniff, and he's just lost the rear of the car. He's allowed Gary through. He's not a million miles back. It wasn't a big off, but it's just that little bit of inconsistency that we speak about, Kelly, that's just costing him places.
Yes, indeed, and I don't know what's happened to Little Leach, because he's dropped now down behind Dan, as we can see. Dan's got in front of him and starting to gap a little bit, so I don't know what's happened to Little Leach, as Peaceful's spin hasn't pushed him all the way back. It's kind of half spin and trip across the grass, as he's not a long way back, but just takes him out of contention a little bit.
Emo Guy!
Oh, as Emo Guy's dropped it.
Yeah, Emo Guy's had a spin then. He gets back round just before Unorthodox can get past him, but he's now down to P4. So all that good work he did on lap 1 has now gone out the window, and he's down into P4. Then Welshie up on the podium, and what a start for what a drive at the moment for the Pro-Am runner-up last season. He's had his problems with the wheel not working properly, and his wheel apparently feels a bit loose on the settings. Something's not right with the wheel, he says. He's tried his son's and it's fine, but his wheel itself, so that's something mechanical on the wheel, to be fair, itself. Maybe he can get that looked at or send it back to the shop where he got it from. His Big Boy Bracer just giving a tap up the rear of Little Leach, so he's actually had to revert back to the pad, I think since Daytona, and has looked a lot better, because obviously he said he was losing hand over fist no end of time on the wheel, just because of that one little setting. So nice team up in P3 at the moment, but Dan Littleleach and Big Boy Brazier all over the back of each other. They've got Emo Guy and Welshie just up front. Peaceful's within 2/10 of Gary, so a good little battle happening out front. But we're on board Big Boy Brazier here, looking down towards the hairpin. We saw Jamie in race 1 outbrake Dan into this corner, and he's having a look, but he's gonna look at the inside.
Did he give him a bit of a Matt Neal? Did he give him a little bit of a push on?
But you see,
I'm not sure. Close.
He's got the job done because he's managed to get onto the apex of the corner before Littleleach can come back at him. So it was very close to a bit of a push, but I'm not sure if they did touch. Oh, and it's very hard to say. But again, you saw the difference there. Jamie not having that confidence, not having obviously that bigger impact in the dry on the brakes into that corner that we saw him have on Dan in race 1.
Absolutely, it was Jamie goes. Where's he gone? He kind of glitched there a little bit. Are we having some?
It's Jamie having internet problems. We know he suffers with them a lot in the past, and is actually, don't forget, Snetterton, his home track, loves it. 2 disconnections due to one of them due to internet problems. That is not what he'll be wanting to see at the moment. Look at the cars up the field then. Welshie, Emo Guy, Dan, Big Boy Brazier, Peaceful just turning into turn 2. Now, has Peaceful made another mistake? Because he was 2/10 off the back of Gary. He's now 2.5 seconds behind Gary. So I reckon Peaceful's had another mistake somewhere, as we've just seen Emo Guy get Welshie for P3 in turn 1.
And I don't think Welshie's given that up, although he misses the apex there and runs wide. He's all over the shop now.
He is. Keep it together. And that'll be Dan that he's just clipped the side of. Was it Dan? No, Dan must have had his own off, because Welshie's there.
He must have done, because there's Welshie.
That would have been Big Boy Brazier then that would have gave him a little tap on the side. So
he went through.
We'll have to keep an eye on Big Boy Brazier's damage. Dan obviously had his own excursion off the circuit a little bit before that, because he was off rejoining well before Welshie had been tapped. So strange one there for Dan. He's obviously made a mistake somewhere. Looking down the pack, Welshie's dropped all the way down to 9th now from P3 at turn 1. At the turn 1, he's now down to 9th place. He's not even halfway through this lap. Littleleach then, after Big Boy Brazier tapped Welshie, obviously not Big Boy Brazier's fault. Will he have front damage on that car? A bit of aero damage maybe, and that's maybe hurting him down the straight, as you see Littleleach drive right around the outside of him. Brazier's going to come back at him though at the inside. Good stuff from Jamie Brazier. Good stuff on the brakes. I think that Lamborghini may be suffering from a bit of aero damage on the front of that car though, Kelly, because that just didn't look as quick in a straight line than the Porsche.
No, not at all. And as you say, he kind of pulled it up on the brakes, because Littleleach had it done. He was round him, but Bad Boy Brazier just managed to pull it up on the brakes and tuck it into the apex. Good driving from these pair. Pretty much the closest battle on track at the moment. Dan's dragging in D Biggs again now, and after he's had kind of half a spin. This front end of that Porsche is looking a little bit damaged. I ain't painting it for you, Dan. I draw the line. I'm not painting it for you.
Big Boy Brazier taking full advantage of the pit window being open now. He's the first man to pit within the pit window. Doesn't get a time penalty this time round, so slows down enough for this one, but is in the pits. Now, repair the damage. I wonder if that's why he came straight in, because that to me would be repair damage. Get it sorted. He's gone now. So not as much damage as we may have thought, but enough to hamper him as D Biggs exit. Oh no, managed to hang on to it. That looked like he was exit stage left.
He looked like he was going off to the left there, absolutely, as Dan's chasing him down. And I thought the same. I thought he's going off there, but he didn't. Although he does go a bit off wide there. Yeah, it goes a little bit wide, so Dan drags him in a little bit more. As we're on board now, as we go through these.
Dan clips the curb and bounces off. Fury's in the pits on the pit window as well. So Fury into the pits at the end of lap 4. Sutty's managed to get past him and is now only a few seconds, only 8 seconds actually, behind Big Boy Brazier. So we'll see what Sutty can do from there. This man though, having a quiet one up front at the minute.
Exactly what he needs, I feel.
He doesn't have to push, does he? Now he can control this pace.
Are you listening, Gary? Are you listening to us? If so, give us a flash of your lights when you when you're listening to us, and just keep it all together. Although Peaceful is just starting to reel him back in again.
And I've been watching the gap, and every time I see Peaceful just starting to come back at Gary, he then seems to just drop off again, as if he just makes that one little mistake yet again, and it just seems to everything. He's just pulled back. is gone. So we'll have to keep an eye on the times for sure.
As you can see, oh look, Daniel and Welshie going.
Deeks, that's Deeks.
Deeks, is it? Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, Deeks has lost it as well. Deeks had a bit of a spin coming on the exit of the corner. So Dan up to P7 now.
Yes, indeed. As Gary's pitted. Gary's got in the pits. Very early. Wants to get it over and done with, obviously. So that puts Peaceful back out in front now. Peaceful needs to get his head down now and start doing the lap times. Both of these, the top three were all in the 2-minute 9s last time round. Going well. But this guy needs to keep his head.
Yeah, Peaceful 2:09.1 as well. So half second quicker than the Emo guy. Gary obviously pitting. Null and voids his last lap sort of thing. As you see there, he's done a 2:33. So he's got, again, he's got the pace. He's now got to prove to everybody watching and us in the commentary box that he can keep that pace, that he can keep with it and keep going.
Absolutely. Well, so we'll see how that progresses as who else is that? D Biggs in
D Biggs coming out the pits now,
yeah. These guys all pretty close company, which is Jamie Brazier,
Deeks and Unorthodox.
Deeks and Unorthodox, all in close company.
And don't forget Brazier's pitted as well.
He has, yeah.
So any time he gains over these here is a bonus because he's already pitted. This, though, holding him up in his battle of Gary. Oh, as he's tucked well up the inside of D Biggs and on the outside. D Biggs very wide. Deeks very wide on the exit of that part of the track. Brazier now can head after Unorthodox and see what he can do. Just looking down the field, Sutty's close to the back of D Biggs. He said he was just hoping to stay out of trouble. I think he was in trouble on lap 1. He says he's not really got the setup for the dry. Oh, Dan, bit of a problem.
Dan, yeah.
Just
probably a bit of a problem there.
Yeah, slamming the anchors on to get the car stopped. I feel he thought if he'd have carried on, he'd have lost it.
Yeah, it looked a little bit strange, that one, didn't it? A little bit. Like the car just kind of stopped. So yeah, you're probably right. To stop it going round, Dan was just standing on the brakes, trying to get it slowed down. As Deeks goes. Tries to go down the inside of Dan. That was all a bit clumsy. Flash of lights from Daniel. I don't know what that was for. These guys all just tripping over each other a little bit. As Dan's back in front of these two again now. So it's all chop and change amongst these three. They're having quite a race between them.
Yeah, good viewing for us and good viewing for the guys watching as well.
Absolutely. And
Dan's still no, that's Brazier flashing Dan. I wonder if it's just a bit of tit for tat at the moment.
A bit of friendly banter.
Friendly banter.
Like
is that Dan pulling into the pits? Yeah, Dan's pulled into the pits, and at the end of lap 6, Dan decides to pit before. I say before, he's pitting before Deeks. Big boy Brazier has already pitted. Maybe that was the indication of the flash, just to sort of say, like, try not to battle me too hard. I'm pulling to the left out the penultimate corner to go into the pit lane. Maybe if that's what the flashes was for. So Sutty, Keegs, Fury, D Biggs, Big Boy Brazier, and now Unorthodox have all pitted. So is Gary. Gary came out the pits in P4, just behind his brother, just ahead of Welshie. No one else yet pitted in this race. And we're on lap 7 of 14. So guys who's watching in the chat, get your votes in for driver of the day. Let us know who you think is your driver of the day. I'll come to me and you at the end, as I'm kind of undecided at the moment. There's a few that I want to suggest. Gary, Little Each are two of the guys at the moment, but we'll see what happens as the race continues to go on. In a moment. Emo guy 2/10 quicker than Peaceful last lap. That gap's still about 4 seconds at the moment. So Peaceful doing the business at the minute. Yes he is. Just keeping his head down, keeping his lap times good. 2:09.2 the last time round. Ian going a little bit quicker, but only by a tenth and a half. So we'll see how this pans out. When Peaceful pits, you can see Jamie coming right up on the back of D Biggs there, and again goes to the outside, but can't make it stick on the brakes that time. No, and that seems to be down the inside. That seems to be Jamie's favourite overtaking place at the moment, but he set him up for the next part of that. And he's done that one,
Yes,
an absolute
indeed.
dream, Jamie has there. What a move.
Yeah, got it done. Got it done. Yeah, indeed. Good driving.
Yeah.
For sure. Sooty Apex just coming up behind these guys, having a little bit of an uneventful race this time round.
Yeah, I just look at his lap times. 2:16 last time out for Sooty Apex, and it's not great front runner pace, is it? Struggling. He said he didn't have the pace in the dry, and the setup didn't feel great when the track started drying.
He did.
So, you know, he was fully honest about that and says he's just going to try and see what he can do in race 2. So maybe damage limitations as Big Boy Brazy is now going to try and get past Deeks once again.
Deeks, yeah.
I didn't see how them two ended up behind Deeks, actually. So did they have a spin or something as Big Boy Brazy looks up the inside? Deeks trying to hang it around the outside, can't do that.
Goes wide.
D Biggs, he takes that line, you know. I've seen him do that more than once tonight, and he sort of takes that stage left line as if he's going to put it in the wall and then keeps it together. He's going to have a look around the Maggots Beckett section. Just give Deeks a bit of a tap up the rear. That was a little.
nail there.
That was a little naughty there from D Biggs. Not really you can't really overtake round that section of track, Kelly.
No, not at all. A little bit overzealous, that one, I think. So yeah, just a little bit clumsy. As he just drops it.
Who else? D Biggs, yeah.
D Biggs,
dear.
yeah, just dropped it. The Porsche beginning to look a little bit second hand now, that's for sure. Sooty on a bit of a charge now. He seems to in the 209, so seems to have a bit of pace all of a sudden. So yeah, maybe making a bit of a comeback in this race. Half distance, he's kind of woken up, and we'll see how he goes on. See if he can continue to keep it together. Fastest man on the track, or not this lap, but peaceful now.
Yeah,
it was. I was looking at Gary. Gary was quick on the last lap, but peaceful in the 208s now.
Answered back, hasn't it, to Gary's last lap? So peaceful, although he's got to go till the end, he's still doing the business at the moment. Guys, we're on lap 9 of 14. Get them votes in for driver of the day. NJ says that is a hard one. Fury's granddad tells Fury, keep going, hang in there. He's going to score points. He'll score some decent points for 12th place. Excuse me, that is for sure. Obviously with a few retirees in this one. But peaceful at the minute. While she's in the pits, peaceful at the minute, doing the job that I think we've been looking for all season.
Yeah, so let's hope so. We'll come off him a moment and let him run his race for a minute. We'll see what happens when he pits a bit later on. And as you see, Welshie in and out the pits for his mandatory pit stop.
Big Boy Brazy has passed him. That's Sooty Apex coming down the straight. Yeah. He's gone past. Deeks coming down the straight. He's gone past. Can Welshie get out just before D Biggs? I don't think he will. I don't think he'll be up to speed in time before he gets before D Biggs gets here.
Drops behind. Drops behind D Biggs.
So down to P9.
Ninth. Yeah.
Keegs. We've not spoke about Keegs much or Fury much in this race. Fury obviously maybe struggling getting used to the Porsche. Obviously back in a different car after dropping all points and getting rid of Ferrari. So maybe a bit of a let's go out there, score some points, see what we can do, learn the car a little bit. After missing the first race, come back in next week at Oulton Park and see what we can really do with this Porsche. But Keegs, not spoke about him much tonight. He's not really had a great night.
No, not one of his best performances this evening. And you know how it goes. Some days you're good, and some days the track suits you, and some days it don't. So you know, it's all relevant, isn't it? You know? So it's
one of them, isn't it, where like you say, some days it suits you, some days it doesn't, but you know, he's just not been able to get what he's needed to do tonight right. Sooty, P6 now, behind Jamie Brazier, quite a way behind Jamie Brazier, 10 seconds to be precise, but at the moment doing a good job. Bethany Duffin in the chat, has the top 3 pitted yet? The top 3 haven't pitted yet. No, Deeks having a look back on D Biggs. Sorry, that's Welshie having a look on D Biggs, trying to get up to P8. No, the top 3 haven't pitted yet. I'll go through the guys who haven't pitted. Peaceful Explosion.
Is she not leaning over your shoulder looking at your Toy Story book?
No, she's laid on the sofa watching it on her phone. She's not leaned over my shoulder watching, looking at my Toy Story book. No, she's sat there watching it on her phone.
I say to your missus, go and flick Matthew on the ear. Do you know what I mean? Why he's commentating? Why he's saying something intelligent?
Yeah.
I know that's going to be a small window of opportunity.
Very small window. Like Matt Neal is the greatest. There's the only intelligent thing I'll say. But no, for those guys who want to know who hasn't pitted, Peaceful Explosion, Little Ichimo Guy, and Deeks.
Yes. So yes. Sorry, was that Peaceful Explosion, Little Leech, Deeks, and
Emo Guy?
Emo Guy.
As that is Welshie, just going up the inside of D Biggs, and the team DW Motorsport, or DW Racing, should I say, playing the team game there. Has Deeks done him the world of good by holding him up a little bit? And will Welshie be given? Yeah, Welshie, look, has been granted opportunity to pass. So did Deeks here. So Deeks not wanting to hold his teammate up. The Yorkshireman and the Scotsman. Bit of Yorkshire tea and a can of Iron Brew maybe after this race, but working well together there. Oh, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'll have a vodka and Coke, thank you.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So this is probably the closest battle on track right at the moment. We'll wait to see what happens. We're lap 10, so only 4 to go. As say that, and Emo Guy pits. He goes into the pits. It's Peaceful. I want to see where he ends up after he pits.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see what happens with those guys when they when Peaceful pits. That'll be the interesting one. As Little Leech pits as well now.
Oh, there we go.
Goes
so
in for his pit stop.
He's released his brother now. Craig pitting on lap 10 yet again. So yeah, you're right. I want to see where Peaceful ends up. 19 seconds over Gary 131. Although Peaceful had a 2:10 on the last lap. Gary was in the 2:07. So Peaceful had a horrible lap. Was lapping in the 2:08s. Has he made a mistake somewhere? Now's not the time for mistakes, Peaceful. We've got to try and keep it together. Question is, how much time do you lose in the pits just for a splash and dash? Obviously, last time round it was a full change of tyres, full service to the car, MOT, job done, on your off your pop, job. Job's a good one. And this one, it's just in, bit of fuel, out.
Yes, indeed.
Nothing
do you
really.
Think they'll be taking on? Do you think they'll be taking on fuel? Do you think they're not just fueled it for the duration?
I suppose it depends, doesn't it? I mean, I would have as well. I'd be in, in stop go sort of thing, and not be messing around. Peaceful Explosion has extended his gap to Gary as Deeks now comes into the pit, so it is literally now just Peaceful Explosion who has not pitted. We're on lap 11. So he
doesn't have to do it until the penultimate lap if he doesn't want to. Yeah, it's completely his choice when he pits within the pit window, but he does have to make that pit. If he goes on to lap 14 without making it, he'll be disqualified. That's obvious. So it is really now when Peaceful pulls the trigger, really, and what happens when he gets out.
25 seconds to Emo Guy, 18 seconds to Gary. It's going to be close. I wouldn't like to say he's pulled the trigger now as we're speaking about it. He's pulled the trigger now. So this is where we're going to get to see how quick his pit stop is, how much time he will lose to Gary. Pit box right at the top of the pits as well. Gary, you can hear the cars in the background. I'm not sure if that is Gary. Oh, he's away, look. So handy pit stop.
Yeah,
Gary,
very quick stop.
Is that him coming up to the final corner now?
Gary's in the final corner.
Yeah, and he's out of it. Peaceful's still not at the pit exit yet. This could be a tight one like we saw with Little Each and Sutty here. Peaceful's still not been released. No, Gary's done him. Gary's gone. He has, though, jumped. He has stayed in front of Emo Guy, albeit just, as I'm sure, Emo Guy just coming over the start line now, look. Gary putting in another 2:07 lap. So Gary's done the business there. A Peaceful Explosion, 4 seconds behind Gary, so just lost out a bit too much. Maybe 1 or 2 mistakes when he did his 2:10 lap just cost him too much time. And maybe if he'd not done that 2:10 and he'd done a 2:08, 2:07 like he was doing, the gap would have been a bit closer. But 3.8 to Gary. Gary, we've seen him the last 2 weeks. He's got a mistake in him. This isn't over just yet on lap 12 of 14. Big Boy Brazier catching the back of Little Each down at this 4P4 at the moment.
Certainly is, and you're quite right. Any one of these guys is capable of dropping it at any time. And it happens. It's powerful rear-wheel drive cars. These guys not running traction control, and importantly, not running
Stability
control, which stability's if you're not aware of the game and you just watch, stability control is the magic button. That's I want to feel like a race car driver and never drop the back end.
Yeah.
It's like the magic button. So it's like the Mitsubishi Evo button. You know, once you press that button, you won't lose the car. You know, so that is obviously switched off.
Yeah.
You know, these guys are driving, you know, with their right foot as traction control, or their right finger.
Right finger.
If you're sooty. So you know, mistakes happen, and they happen for all these guys. So it could happen to any one of them. So really, still anybody's race. Gary's in the box seats. He seems to be a lot happier in the dry. He's in the 207s. As we see Jamie Brazier having a look right round the outside of Little Leach, but can't make it stick there.
Jamie's looked good in his second race, Kelly. He's put some overtakes in on people.
Racy.
Yeah, he's looked very good. He looked a lot better than what he did in race 1, where he kept spinning around and having a few mistakes. He's made some moves. Still no comments in the chat for driver of the day. Kelly, I'm going to come to you to get yours.
Right at the moment, and although we're watching him right now, I would say Little Leach. That race 1 win was solid, sensible, and he's in the top 4 again now. Do you know what I mean? We spoke to him in the chat. He was in the bottom half of the grid because he won. We know that, and he's managed to drag this thing, up into 4th place at the moment. Although Jamie giving him a hard time. We only got a lap and a half, or these guys just under 2 laps. To hold on to it. For me, Little Leach is going to be my driver of the day. I think he's driven really well.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I've got to give it to Gary. All them problems in race 1 and still got on the podium. How many times did we see Gary round and he still managed to finish on the podium? Then down the order for the reverse grid, and he's just led this race so comfortably until he pitted. And then now he's leading it so comfortably again since. So I've got to go Gary. Close between the two of them, though, for me. It was an either-or sort of thing. But Gary, because he's winning this one, I've got to give it to Gary over Little Leach.
Certainly a good evening for Leach Motorsport, whichever way you look at it, isn't it? You know,
fantastic night for the pair of them.
Yeah, and I don't know where they are in the championship battle as you know, as a team. Oh, as Little Leach gets it a bit squirrely there, as he comes out of onto the back straight. Let's there we go. Let's get on that cat. Let's see where Jamie breaks on this one, shall we?
Yeah, down to his favourite corner once again, Kelly, and he's having a look. There, he's already
covering
looking.
him off. Oh, he goes to cover him off, moves out of the way. Oh, missed that apex, Jamie.
Missed
that was
it
a little
wide.
bit,
and you heard a bit of a touch between the two drivers there as well. But Jamie's got it done. Up the inside goes Jamie Brazier then into P4 at the moment. Gary's had a problem.
Bit elbows out. Oh, he's going to have Leach. Oh, Little Leach's going to have a go at him. Oh, right on the inside of him there. Kind of backs out of it a little bit. A little bit boisterous by Jamie there. Certainly, he's bad boy
Brazier tonight.
Yeah, tonight he's been had his account suspended or whatever, and had to race on a different one. We don't know what he's been up to. I don't know if he's been been out on the lash with the mechanics and or whatever. I don't know what he's done.
I just want to say, Kelly, Gary's just on a 2 minute 14, peaceful in the 209s. Gary had a problem. It was down to half a second, that gap. Peaceful on the last lap of this race. I said Gary's got a mistake in him, and he's obviously made one to allow Peaceful catch, but not just Peaceful. One more mistake, and Emo's there as well. Yeah, Emo guy looking for another podium. He's had one podium this year, a second place last week at Algarve in the feature race of that one. But Gary here, I said he's got a mistake in him, has clearly made that mistake, and Peaceful's now on the back of him.
Yes, indeed. And what we got, half a lap to go, basically, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And Peaceful pulling right up on the back of him. And as we said, Emo guy is has a watching brief just behind him. He's just dropped out of the 1 second gap for Emo guy. But Peaceful having a look at Gary. This is kind of where his opportunity was. He wanted to probably be a bit closer at this point as he pulls up under braking. But you always get that yo-yo effect. Yeah. You always will have that. So
I think he gained a bit though there under the brakes.
Yeah,
I think not. Obviously, as Gary pulled away, Peaceful definitely is a bit closer to him now than what he was before the hairpin. Different lines through there from Peaceful and Gary, and he can smell. He's not won since Silverstone round 1 of season 1, don't forget. He's not won for a long time. He's due a win. This man's had plenty of wins. He won the title last year. But it's coming down to the final couple of corners. How's your nerve, Gary, in the final 2 sections now? Round the penultimate corner. Good through there at the minute. One more to go. Peaceful Explosion, half a second behind. Dragged down to the line's not going to be possible. Gary's got it round that final corner. Peaceful has got to give it everything. And he's lost it! And he's through his chance of a second place away. And Gary 131 is going to take the second race win of the night for the Emo guy. Gifted pretty much a second place here. You see there, Peaceful Explosion. Oh dear me, what could have been. It's happened to be a P3 at the end of that one then. Big Boy Brazier.
Yeah.
Again, them little bits of inconsistency, Kelly, creeping in. Big Boy Brazier will take a 4th place from Little Leach in 5th. So a good little battle between them two tonight. Flash the lights for Little Leach, good night for Leach Motorsport, that is for sure. Sutty will take a 6th place in a night that's full of podiums in the first race, and he said he'd be off the pace for race 2, and that he was. P6 for him. Dan has got D Biggs for place right behind him till the very end here. Fury crossed the line a lap down, so is Keegs in P11 and 12. But this the battle till the end at the minute.
Yeah, these still battling out, these two. The battle of the Porsches for 7th and 8th place here. I think Dan's just really got to keep it all together, because I don't think he's going to be under pressure unless he drops it in this last corner. We've just seen Peaceful do that. So Dan will come over the line in 7th, and D Biggs will come over in 8th. Welsh going to be 9th. And his teammate Diggs is going to be 10th, a little way back. Keegs and Fury have already finished a lap down or whatever they are. But
so we just await the final fastest lap point of the night. But what a shame for Peaceful Explosion at the end. We spoke about the little bits of inconsistency. He had that again at the end. He was nearly catching Gary, at the very end. As Gary had messed up, but that final corner, it was all eyes on Gary to see what Gary was going to do through that final corner, and it was Peaceful that messed up. That's your race 2 then. Gary takes the win. Looking at the fastest lap, Gary the only man in the 207s, just looking at it at the moment. Going down yet, Gary the only man in the 207, so Gary will take the extra bonus point for fastest lap of the race. And let me tell you, that has done some bits for the championship. With G not finishing and scoring points in any race, he has dropped well back now, and in terms of the constructors as well, that has also changed hands. I'm just going to quickly sort these into order. So G down to 3rd place in the championship standings, with Gary doing the business at the moment, leading it by 37 points from Big Boy Brazier. Emo Guy and Andy pretty much stay where they are. They just kind of change positions in terms of Emo Guy above Andy and so on. Just looking elsewhere, Welshie's moved up a couple of places. Oh, hang on, it's gone wrong. Let me just do that again. So yeah, Gary Lee's from Big Boy Brazier. Emo Guy and Andy pretty much swapped round. D-Big stays there. Little Leach has gone above Sutty. Sutty's gone above Peaceful. Welshie's jumped up above Phil. Obviously, Unorthodox and Fury starting from scratch, so they've got a lot of work to do from where they are. But I'm sure, no doubt, they'll start to pick up points and maybe move up and down the table as and when throughout the rest of the season, as we're at the halfway point next week at Alton Park. First race of the night will be the halfway mark of the season. Guys, leave a thumbs up in this one. Just looking at the last couple of comments. Well done, bro. Leach Motorsport. Fury's Grander. Well done, Fury, for sticking with it. Last 2 laps horrible. Had no grip left whatsoever, says Gary. Fury's mum. Fair play, Fury, for finishing the race. Yeah, well done to Fury. Obviously, under the weather, I got a message from him. That's why I didn't race 1. So fair play to Fury for sticking with it until the very end. Well done to you, sir. Looking at constructors, class of 97 go above Forever Forward Racing. So do, crucially, Leach Motorsport as well. Driver of the day was tied between Little Leach and Gary. Beth said Gary. Liam Gamer said Little Leach. Driver of the day. Gary said Little Leach as well. So actually, we'll give it to Little Leach for driver of the day.
Yeah, your missus also went for Gary as the driver of the day.
One thing you've got to know,
yeah.
Kelly, she's a Gary fan.
Oh, I see. Do it. Flick him in the air. You know? I think that would be hilarious. Yeah, seems to be that in the comments that the guys seem to agree with us. It's Gary or Little Leach. It's certainly been Leach Motorsport's night tonight for certain sure. They've had a cracking good meeting tonight, and well driven by both of them.
Yeah, well driven by both of them. Well done to Fury for sticking out, not feeling well. Well done to everybody else as well for competing tonight. We'll be back next week live on Wednesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. We're at the Alton Park International layout, that is, so the full track.
Full track.
The full track at Alton Park. Going to be an interesting race because it's very narrow, that circuit. So that one's going to be an interesting watch. Across the pond into Britain, and with the weather we've been having over the country these last couple of days, a bit of snow here and there, who knows what could happen come the weather for next week. We'll have to keep our eyes out on the forecast over this next week and find out. Kelly, any final words?
Yeah, as usual, a pleasure to be here. Some great racing this evening. For you guys who are out there and want to get involved, like and subscribe to this page. And a great night's racing. I'm looking forward to Sunday night on back on Motive, and I'm looking forward to your cheap cracks about Jason Plato and Matt Neal, why I can't retaliate. Looking forward to that. But no, a pleasure as always, Matt.
No, thanks for being here. It's great to have you in the commentary box, guys. Let's get him last few likes in for those who's not liked the video. Let's get the last ones in now just before we end the stream. It's been a pleasure to have you all here. Stay safe in the current climates, especially while we don't know what's going off at the moment with lockdown. Hope you're all keeping well. But we'll be back next week live 8 p.m. on the Simplay Motorsport channel. Tune in for the Wednesday night on the Pro-Am and Thursday night for the Pros. But from me and Kelly, it's been a great pleasure to have you here at COTA. Stay safe and good night.
Good night, all.
calling to say I just calling to say I